Today, on The Making of Her, I am sitting down with a woman who embodies exactly what this show is about. Today, on The Making of Her, I am sitting down with a woman who embodies exactly what this show is about: leadership that is grounded, strategic, and radically honest. Dr. Meghna Darby is a powerhouse healthcare leader. She is known for not only her clinical excellence, but also her ability to build high performing teams, as well as her no nonsense approach to elevating women in medicine. She's also one of my dearest friends. She is someone who understands deeply that leadership isn't about titles, it is about biology, behavior, as well as the courage to rewrite the patterns we have inherited. In this conversation, we are going to go into the real identity shifts that women clinicians face, how biology can be leveraged instead of fought, what habits can we inculcate that shape high performance without the burnout, and the honest truths about what it takes to lead with clarity, confidence, and results. So if you are a woman in healthcare or a woman leading anything or anyone, this episode is going to feel like you're sitting down with somebody who gets you and will challenge you to rise. Let's get into it. Today, on The Making of Her, I am sitting down with a woman who embodies exactly what this show is all about: leadership that is grounded, strategic, and radically honest. Dr. Meghna Darby is not only a dear friend, but she is a powerhouse in healthcare leadership. She is known for her clinical excellence, her ability to build high performing teams, as well as her no nonsense approach to elevating women in medicine. She is somebody who understands deeply that leadership is not just about titles. It is about biology, behavior, as well as the courage to rewrite the patterns that we may have inherited. In this conversation, we are going to go into the real identity shifts that women clinicians face, how biology can be leveraged instead of fought, the habits that shape high performance without the burnout, and the honest truths about what it takes to lead with clarity, confidence, and results. So if you are a woman in healthcare or a woman leading anything or anyone, this episode is going to feel like you are sitting with someone who gets you and will challenge you to rise. Let's get into it. Welcome, Meghna. It's been a hot minute since I have seen you. It is my honest pleasure to have you here today.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Dr. Goswami. Of course, Meghna. Longtime friend, I know.
Gosh, forever. And when I recorded your introduction, which I did right before we hopped on our call, and one of the things I said is, you're one of my dearest friends. And I feel like the friendship doesn't change, even though we haven't seen each other or chatted in what seems like years. It's one
I
of
know.
those bonds that they're just there. You and Amanda. Shout out to Amanda Sheehan. We need to get her on this podcast too. I think it's like we're the OG Three Musketeers.
Yeah. My two badass dental friends for sure.
Now, you have built a career that blends clinical excellence along with leadership. When you look back at your journey, all these years, what moment or experience shaped the way that you lead today?
Oh, that's a great question. I don't think I was ever afraid of business ownership in particular because I watched my grandmother do it. She had a small bike shop in a small little Midwestern Iowa town. So I would go with her in the summers and kind of work RAGBRAI, which is like a bike ride across the state of Iowa, kind of help her sell and do vendors and stuff. So that part never scared me. But I would say, as far as like an experience that really shaped me, is for sure joining the Air Force after dental school. That was a huge win to just not only my it just accelerated my clinical skills really quickly, but then also just kind of, was a a master course, and being a United States Air Force captain will make you be understand leadership very quickly, and and have a lot of respect for a lot of people, different people. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for your service. Was there ever a period when you felt like you were doing everything right on paper, right? You're checking all the boxes, doing all the things, but yet something felt off, something felt misaligned. What was that thing? How did it wake you up? How did it change things that you did, be it within the practice? People think when you and I talk about leadership and it's just within the practice, right? As women, for us, leadership is within our family, within our community. And I know you're huge. You do a lot within the community. We'll get into your trips to Nepal as well. All of that, like, where was it? Did you first ever feel that misalignment? And what was it?
Oh gosh, this is a tough question. I think it's really, really tough. And I was just talking to another female practice owner in town last week and had the same kind of thought. It's tough when you're the same sex as most people in your office and holding professional leadership boundaries. There's usually some jealousy with staff there sometimes. That can be a thing that's actually really that could be tough. And then a lot of us are born people pleasers in our families and things like that. And that is in complete disarray with what it takes to be a good leader. Oftentimes, not all, sometimes you can make people happy and do what's best for the organization, but oftentimes you have to hold firm boundaries, and that makes people not happy with you. And so a lot of times, good leadership is having to not lead into your people pleasing tendencies, and to hold what is the value of the organization above what will make other people happy or what will make you comfortable.
Would you say that's the biggest myth about leadership? We wish we'd retired, especially women in healthcare.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to people please everybody.
We can't, or you'll die trying. I mean, that's not going to happen. And I would say, like, it's not like I wouldn't say I get over it. I struggled with that this week. I mean, there were several situations where I was like, well, I'm either gonna, we're either gonna not hit our marks here and we're gonna hurt people, or we're gonna make a lot of people upset. So we're just gonna toe the line and do what we need to do. So yeah,
the best we can. Do the best we can.
Yeah.
Have you struggled with the identity shift between being the clinician and the leader, and a woman and a mom and a wife and a daughter, just the various hats that we end up wearing? Has that happened with you? Yeah.
Absolutely. Like I feel like I have complete whiplash, and I'm sure other people will feel like this as well. Because I mean, like, I will have to be, super dominant, like have to make decisions all day. I don't mind so much my role at home. A lot of times I feel like an alien when I'm talking to other moms that are like in different. I've just, I kind of have to really totally shift, and we're like chit chatting about like, just life stuff. And I'm like, whoa. So I don't know if you've ever felt like that, but I kind of like, oh, right. Okay. So this is how the rest of the world is. And so, there is a little bit of the, you just realize how unique you are to be an entrepreneur and be a woman and a leader like that. Like it is definitely like a brain shift that has to happen when I kind of go, okay, now we're at church and now we're at book club, and like I have to be like a real person, I guess. And so some days the transition's a little smoother and some days it's not. Yes.
Yes. I completely get what you're saying. I remember when my oldest was in kindergarten, I think that was the year I purchased my practice. And when you have laser focus on the business, but then you're also coming back and being the mom, and then suddenly I'd find myself at school at drop off and everybody's talking about what decorations on the cupcakes. And I was like, we have bigger things to think about. No, this is important too. So I get the whiplash. It's like, oh my God.
I know. And I finally get to the sign up list and everybody's taking the easy stuff, and I have to like bake turkey legs and bring them to like the party. And I'm like, come on, help a working mom out.
Yes. You are huge into fitness. Gosh, I admire you every single day. What habits or systems keep you grounded and performing to the level that you show up every single day? I can't say I've ever seen you slip, at least in the years that I've known you. Do you have a morning routine or a set of habits that you're like, just try it, Meghna, it's going to change your life?
No, I'm going to be the last one to tell you that there's a silver bullet to change your life. It's a lot of little decisions that add up to big changes. So I'll say that. But I do usually try and get at least like 3 miles of walking or running in before I go to work in the morning, and lift weights a few days a week. I'm not really training for anything long right now. So that's like getting 10,000 steps a day, and then, doing three or four weight workouts a week, and then maybe one longer thing on the weekend is kind of like helpful. Also decreases anxiety a lot. And then about 3 or 4 years ago, I hired a coach to help too, because, even people that have been doing this for a long time need accountability. And I just realized it was taking up too much of my brain space to like program my workouts, and was I doing enough or not too much? And so, and I feel like a lot of times I was probably doing more than I needed to kind of stay fit, because I don't need to run a marathon tomorrow. So, I've done that, got that, that t-shirt. So I think too, hiring a coach just helped quiet the brain noise on the side, so that I could just, focus on the few things that really turn the mark, just like having a business coach should do for you. Focus on the things that that turn the knob. And then, yeah.
I hear you on that. What fills your cup?
Family time definitely does. Getting time outside in the woods. We're very blessed to be right near a big trail system here in Huntsville, Alabama. So I definitely try and spend a few days a week hiking in the woods. That always kind of helps, like just kind of calm my nervous system down. And then just realizing, that filling my cup is part of the routine too, because I'm a extroverted introvert that really, really needs time to decompress. And so if I don't do that, I start to feel very burned out. So I do, like to read and take that slow time to kind of just like, make sure that I'm like calming my nervous system down. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to go into your trips to Nepal? Do you have one coming up?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'll go back in March. I'm really excited. We'll get to go back to kind of like the foothills of the Himalayas, kind of like at the beginning of the Everest region this time. But yeah, it just was been a really, I kind of went into going to dental school knowing that I wanted to do, foreign mission work. I just love to travel. And I know this is a weird thing if you're not a dental person, but I do really, really love surgery and extraction. So it's been easy for me to do, because there's primarily in very, very remote areas, that's what you're doing a lot of, is you're helping people that have never had dental care, don't have access to any dental care, things like that. So I ended up just having a friend of a friend that connected us with connected me with a missionary couple that was just saying that they couldn't find a dentist that would mind sleeping out in the woods and going on long, hard hikes. And somebody was like, "Oh, we have your crazy lady." Kind of like, bonded kind of like a long partnership with us. So, and there's another dental friend that I have, Dr. Brian Freeman from Paducah, Kentucky. And he and I have been doing dental mission trips for 10 years. And I kind of called him and I said, "Well, what about Nepal?" And he's like, "Sure, sign me up." He's like the most laid back guy ever. So we kind of like do that once a year, and we've gotten to bring our kids now. And it's been a really neat experience, to strap dental equipment on the back of yaks and have caravan into town to do extraction clinics when needed. But it's been really really interesting, and really interesting to just experience that area of the world and just the needs there, and also to put it in perspective, a lot of things that we take for granted, correct, right? So yeah.
Talk about making an impact. Yes, yes, love that. You are a mentor to the younger generation of women clinicians, is that correct?
I try to, yeah, whenever I get the opportunity, for sure.
Yeah. What patterns do you see? What is the biggest challenge that that you see showing up in these women that we aren't talking about enough?
Oh gosh. Well, I could get on my soapbox, and you're asking me to, so I will.
Yes.
So, sure. For one thing, the debt load is much, much more now than it was when you and I were in school. And I was blessed to have the Air Force pay for the majority of my school, so I didn't have that debt. So I was able to leave the Air Force, start a practice from scratch, like day one, kind of did that. And that has really kind of helped kind of set the trajectory of our financial future a lot, because I was able to kind of focus on that rather than all the other things. So I think that probably debt load and debt service it's always going to be a huge conversation. What I will say too is that, managed care and things like that, and like PPO services and things like that have really like cut profitability a lot. So you kind of like have to, what I've always tell people to do, because what I think was really, really important, is to focus on like really, really special clinical skills. So, while I see a lot of PPO patients, I can do a lot of things in the office. We can do a lot of things, and that a lot of general dentists can't do in the office safely and well. So I think that like kind of makes you a blue ocean to where people kind of will seek you out. And it's really been nice for me too, because I've been able to, bring on other really experienced clinicians that, maybe don't want to be an owner, but want to do that. So I'm really excited about, been excited about what we've been able to bring our patients as far as just like the level of expertise of people that have been like, wanting to join our practice, which has been nice. It's always nice when you don't have to recruit and good people come to you. That's always good. And then, the thing that's not changed at all is that fertility is not forever. And we are at the beginning of our careers when, it's very difficult to maintain your trajectory and your clinical skills and take long breaks. I'm one that feels like it's really hard to step out of clinical dentistry and step back in 3 or 4 years later. I think that you probably would lose some hand skills and things like that. I know I would have if I had to do that. And so you're managing timing pregnancies, timing, timing pregnancies and births and child cares and sick kids. When you're at, the early stages of your career, when things are, you're not as quick, not as confident in your decision making. And that's tough. I mean, everybody was like, are you sad to turn 40? I'm like, no, I'm not sad to turn 40. I mean, it feels good to have some, expertise underneath there.
That's a very valid point, and I don't think we've touched upon that in any of the episodes so far. The fact that there's a level of guilt if we do want to take a longer time period off to spend time with the kids. I remember feeling so guilty that I had to cancel patients or leave patients because I had a child that was sick, and it stopped me, and I shouldn't have to choose. My child's only going to be 2, 3, 4, whatever, this one time. And if they need mommy, they need mommy. So yes, I believe that is something that is extremely, extremely hard. And yes, I agree with that. I don't regret.
No.
40, yes.
No.
What advice would you give to the younger version of yourself who at one point was still trying to prove herself?
I don't know. I would say like that, you get to decide what your life looks like, and, you should plan that first. I mean, things are going to happen or whatever, but you get to decide how much time off, what you want your days to look like, especially if you're in a position if you're our practice owner. There are a lot of things that are going to come your way that you have zero control over, and you're going to have to deal with that. So if you want to take a certain amount of time off a year and want to do that, you need to not apologize for it, and figure out what you need, and just make it work, retrofit it into your schedule. So you get to design your life, and don't feel bad because you've made a lot of decisions to get yourself there, and enjoy it as much as you should. You shouldn't feel guilty for enjoying yourself because you've worked hard.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's when you're going to look back at it like 10 years from then, is it going to be that big a deal? If you need the time off.
I said I'll get like a 1-star Google review, and I'll realize like that person had a bad experience maybe, but they are not on the list of people that I really care about. I can sleep fine at night knowing that they're mad at me. And so that's a good place to be too.
That's growth. That, I know you've worked yourself up to that. So that is growth. All right. What would you say is your current edge? That place where you feel you are being asked to grow next. What's coming up next for Dr. Darby?
Yeah, thanks. Well, I just was talking with Meghna about how we have just relocated our practice to a bigger facility, and it has created a lot of extra in the life. So I had been joking for the 6 months prior that we're going to have to move my oldest school the same day that we're going to open the practice, and ended up being like the same day. So my husband moved our son to Auburn, and I started open the practice. But I can remember having to relocate a lot when our kids were small, because we were in the Air Force and moving, and when you're moving houses and things like that. And I can remember kids like when we'd have rules at one house, we'd move to the next house, and they would be like, like all of our systems were out the window. I feel like all of our systems are out the window. Like, okay, we still, all the rules we used to have still apply. So, I feel like it's kind of creating new systems, and then, managing, a busy column of 8 chairs is very different than managing 12, and managing, 12 to 14 employees is different than managing 18 to 20. That's been a challenge. And I know it doesn't feel like that much bigger, but it's also a lot more people, a lot more people, and a lot more personalities and things like that. So that I think has been the biggest, challenge in the last few months, and probably will continue for the next 6 months or so. Yeah.
I've always said our practices are the babies that are never going to grow up. They're always going to need us. Yes, we're not changing diapers.
See, your plate with your kids. I was like, it's not the kids. It's the third child. It's the practice. It's the third child.
What do you want your legacy to be?
Oh, that's a great question. I think probably at the end of the day, I hope that our place of work, our business is a place where people can feel heard and trusted and feel like they're not judged for what they look like or whatever set of beliefs they have. I hope that, whoever comes in our office can just feel loved and feel supported, whatever decision they make about their care at the end of the day. So I hope that kind of fostering that kind of treatment in our office and that kind of love, I hope that that's our legacy. Yeah.
As we start to wind down today's episode, for those listening in or watching, if you're on YouTube, I will have Dr. Darby's contact info, their office social media handles, her social media handle, and everything that we would love for you to go follow her in the show notes. So please make sure you do follow her. What is the one thing you hope that everybody who's tuned and who's listening today takes away from your story, your work? What do you want them to take with?
I would say probably that just, if it feels hard, it is hard. It's okay for it to feel hard. There's, times I don't know that a lot of people will say they've got stuff under control. And I think that they're lying. It's just, you can have really good systems, but there's always going to be, you're dealing with people every day, all day long. A lot of times you're dealing with people in pain that have questions. And so, I think that, expecting it to get to the level to where the great myth is that like it's just going to get better and we're just going to be able to coast. I don't think that in my nearly 20 years as a clinical dentist I've ever been at a point where I was like, we get to coast. I don't know. So I think that's probably what I would say is that, and it's worth it. It's worth the struggle. Yeah,
absolutely is. I would do it all over again. I guess we're a special time of crazy, but I'll take that
for sure. For sure. For sure. I know when I opened our practice, it was like 2011, kind of after the 2008 stuff. And I thought I was like having two little kids. I wanted to buy some old guy's practice and just keep it running. That's what I wanted, but there wasn't anything available. And I was just like, it wasn't on my bingo card to grow something from scratch. So it's just been I feel like our whole career has just been like one thing after another like that, where it's just been like, well, okay, this wasn't on my agenda, but here we go. We're gonna make it work. Yeah.
Yeah. One last question before I let you go. The Making of Her, the name of our show, what does that mean to you? What does that phrase mean to you?
Oh, that's a great question too. So I think it's just like the conversations that we're having. It's just about like speaking openly and freely about your challenges and what your influences have been, and being open about mistakes that you've made. I think that is opening that kind of dialogue is really, really important. Because we feel like dental school is like you have to feel like you have to be perfect all the time. And that is, if the things that make you a successful dentist don't necessarily make you a successful person. And so you have to like let go of some of that perfection to be, a good boss, a good mother, and a good female, mentor and stuff in the world. Yeah.
Very true. Well, I want to thank you for taking time to come and chat with me. It was good to see your face and hear your
voice. Absolutely. I mean, this is zero nervousness. It just feels good to talk to an old friend. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. And for those listening in, you know where to find, or you will know where to find her once you go to the show notes. As always, I will see you next time. Thank you, Megan. It has been a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much.
If Dr. Meghna Darby just gave you a perspective shift, a permission slip, or that one sentence that you needed to hear, share this episode with another woman who's rising. See, we don't gatekeep growth around here. If you are new to the show, make sure you follow The Making of Her so you never miss an episode. And if this conversation resonated, take 30 seconds, leave us a review. It helps this show reach the women who need it the most. The ones like you and I who are building careers, businesses, and identities that actually feel like themselves. For more strategist level content, leadership thoughts, and weekly tools that you can use immediately, join my newsletter, The Audacity Edit. You get the link in the show notes. Hey, thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. And thank you for doing the work it takes to become the woman you were always meant to lead at. I'll see you in the next episode of The Making of Her.